What made the EIB issuance, I think, particularly complex were 5 components, each of which individually maybe had been done before. Not everything, but together actually were a very significant step forward in terms of blockchain-based securities issuance. Number one, top-tier AAA name brand issuer. European Investment Bank is one of the largest supranational issuers in the world. Number two, this was the first transaction ever on a blockchain, public or private, that was multi-dealer. There were 3 separate dealers that brought this to market: Goldman Sachs, Societe Generale, and Banco Santander. In that regard, was quite a challenging from an implementation and setup and legal and regulatory point of view. Number 3, this particular issuance was brought to market in front of investors. Obviously, there was a certain amount of additional explanation that we were having in the roadshow process around, what it is, what the mechanism for clearing and settling the transaction, etc., would look like. Number 4, it was the first multi-dealer investment or transaction that was brought to market where an experimental CBDC, central bank digital currency, a digital euro, programmable digital euro, as part of the Banque de France's experimental CBDC program, we used to clear and settle the first step of the transaction. With a typical bond issuance, there's an underwriting step where the underwriters effectively purchase the bond from the issuer, and later they resell those instruments to the investors. In this case, we did the underwriting step using the CBDC. And the 5th thing that made this particularly interesting and challenging, I might add, we did the whole transaction cash leg and security leg on the public Ethereum blockchain. People ask me all the time, why use a public chain for something like this? And the easy answer is it's just there. You don't need to set up a private permission chain and then commit to running it for years if you can use public infrastructure. Now, having said that, public infrastructure is still not really private enough, permissioned enough, or performant enough for these types of transactions at scale, but we're on that path, and we can see a huge amount of innovation, I think, particularly around roll-up technology and side chains and different things. So that kind of sets the scene maybe a little bit for the picture of what we did with European Investment Bank.